Silence can be the loudest thing in the world, especially when it hides a secret that decomposes in the next room, that sits at the table in the empty seat, that breathes in the dark alongside you. This is not a story about ghosts, but about the moment when reality becomes so unbearable that madness is the only refuge, and about what happens when three people decide to live with death in the heart of one of Europe's most vibrant cities. Vienna, 1989. The Iron Curtain is about to fall. The world is in turmoil. But in an ordinary building in the Brigittenau district, the door to apartment 11 remained closed for months. The neighbors noticed the silence, the newspapers piled up on the doorstep, a strange, sickly sweet smell that sometimes drifted through the corridor. Something was wrong, but that's city life, isn't it? Everyone minds their own business. Until one neighbor, an elderly man named Herr Weber, could no longer bear the unease. The family's daughter, the quiet Frau Hinterberger, was always polite, but he hadn't seen her since Christmas. The smell was getting worse. Concern won over etiquette. He called the police. When the door was broken down, the officers were greeted not by a crime scene, but by one of disturbing normality. The apartment was clean, tidy, but the air was heavy, dense, laden with an odor that no disinfectant in the world could mask. And then they found them. In the main bedroom, under blankets, the badly decomposed body of the patriarch, Josef Hinterberger. In another room, the body of the grandfather. Death had claimed their bodies long ago, perhaps a year. But what about the living? They were in the living room. Anna Hinterberger, the matriarch, sitting in her armchair, staring into space. Her two adult children, Klaus and Marlene, one on the sofa, the other looking out the window. They didn't seem shocked. They weren't in panic. They were present. They had lived there, eaten there, slept there, while their loved ones rotted in the rooms next door. For the police, the question was obvious. Why? Why didn't they call an ambulance? Why didn't they report the deaths? The answers, given with terrifying calm, were fragments of a nightmare. Anna said her husband Josef wasn't well and needed to rest, that the grandfather had gone away. She continued to prepare meals for a family of 5. She washed everyone's laundry. She maintained the routine. Her children, functionally normal adults until then, seemed to have entered a silent pact of denial. A pact sealed by fear, by shame, or by something deeper and darker. The psychiatrists who evaluated them spoke of shared psychosis, a folie à deux magnified, an island of family madness in a sea of normality. Anna, the dominant figure, had created an alternate reality where death wasn't real, where it was just a phase of an illness. Her children, dependent and isolated, dove in with her. But there are details this explanation doesn't fully cover. One officer reported that in the apartment there were old family photographs, all with the faces of Josef and the grandfather carefully covered with pieces of paper, as if they were being erased from existence while their physical bodies were still there. Marlene, the daughter, whispered to a social worker that she heard her father's footsteps at night, dragging through the hallway. She said she was afraid he would be angry if he knew they had buried him before his time. The case was filed as a psychiatric tragedy. No criminal charges were filed. Anna and her children were hospitalized, and then the world moved on. The apartment was cleaned, renovated, other tenants moved in. But the question remains, echoing in the silence. What really happened in that apartment? Was it just madness? Or was it something more primal? A perverted tribal instinct to protect the clan from the outside world, even from death? Were they hiding the bodies from the world, or hiding the world from themselves? The true terror of the Hinterberger story is not in the decomposition, but in the dissolution of the line between life and death, between sanity and madness, between public and private. It's a sinister reminder that the thickest walls aren't made of concrete, but the ones we build inside our own minds. And that sometimes the most horrifying secret isn't the one we scream, but the one we keep in silence, sitting at our dinner table every single day.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If this story kept you engaged in any way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can, leave a like. It helps the channel grow and motivates me to bring more stories for you. Let me know in the comments what you thought and what you'd like to hear next. See you in the next one.